commercialize the T0. Do you mind if I do it? And they're like, no, yeah, that'll be totally fine. Like, okay. So then it's like, okay, so go do this with JV, and we'll go create a commercial version of the T0. And then Gage and Cocconi said, well, there's some other people who also want to do it. Do you want to maybe team up with them? He said there were 2 other groups that wanted to do it. And I was like, okay, sure. Maybe this is a way that I can have my cake and eat it too, I think that's the last word.
Never works out.
God damn, try to have your cake and eat it too, doesn't it?
This one's going to be easy.
No, I mean, well, I didn't think it would be easy, but it was like, I thought maybe I can allocate like 20 to 30 hours a week and just work on product engineering, and then other people can do the other stuff. I don't even like doing the other stuff anyway. So that didn't work out. So then Tom Gage said, he said there were 2 teams, but I only ever met one, and that was Eberhard, Topping, and Wright. But like the thing that is really bugs me about them is like they Eberhard in particular, the worst guy I've ever worked with, and I want to make a note of this. He is literally the worst person I've ever worked with, and I've worked with some real douchebags. Okay, to be number 1 takes a lot. It's not easy. His version of the story is like is that out of the blue he pitched me on funding his electric car company, and he convinced me to do it. Totally false. Okay, I was like, I'm creating an electric car company. It's like the Gage said, well, maybe you could team up. And it's like, okay, well, maybe that might be worth doing, and so the company ended up being basically 5 people. This is Wright, Topping, Eberhard, Strabel, and myself, and so it was the 5 of us. And like Topping always tries to write out of the history books, because they had a huge battle and they made me choose which one was going to be CEO. It's Wright or Eberhard, and I talked to JB and I was like, which one? Because I really did not want to be CEO. So then they're like, okay, well, both have issues, but maybe Wright has bigger issues than Topping. That's what JB said. So maybe, lesser of evils. I was like, okay, fine. I got to make a choice here, because the 2 of them they refused to be in the same building. So it was like a lot of drama. Tesla has so much drama. And I was like, okay, it's not like I said, like, lesser of 2 evils. So it's like I said, Wright, sorry, not that I didn't think he had good points, but if I gotta pick one, I was trying not to be CEO. I gotta make this rocket company work. So anyway, so then made it was like Wright, it's like had to leave then. Anyway, so we got basically we jammed AC propulsion, powertrain, and battery pack into a Lotus Elise. With the first prototyping, like really just jammed it in, and in retrospect, this was not a good idea, because the car ended up weighing like 60% more than an Elise, or on that order, and we didn't have enough volume to put the battery pack, and we had to we invalidated all of the crash tests because the weight distribution was different. It was heavier, so none of the crash tests were valid anymore. We had to redo the airbags. The air conditioner ran off a belt fan, so we didn't have a belt fan, so we had to have a new air conditioning system, so we had to change the HVAC system, and so basically in the end, only about I think 6 or 7% of the parts ended up being in common with an Elise.
Wow.
So, and we went through a lot of trouble trying to shoehorn everything in there. And I mean, it's a cute car, but it's 10% too small. It's like, and then the costs ended up being crazy, yeah, and then yeah, and there was an audit of the costs of the production cost of the Roadster by one of the investors that joined in 2007, and then they called me up and said, hey, the numbers that Martin is telling you, that everyone's telling you about the Roadster are totally false.
Oh boy.
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, he said, no, we just did an audit. It's more than twice of what he's saying. Yeah. It's like we would have to sell this car for $250,000 in order to not lose money. I was like, this is insane. Whoa. So anyway, then we obviously had to fire Everhard. There was no choice about that. Yeah, and then it turned out not only had he misled me directly, he'd instructed others to also lie. Yeah. Yes. When I say like somebody that's like the worst person I've ever worked with, it's pretty bad. Yeah. So, but SpaceX also hadn't gotten to orbit at that time, so I was like, man. So then I asked, what is the name? Harris. Remember the guy? I'm blanking on the name.
No, we brought in a CEO.
The interim.
Yeah, he ran like a manufacturing company. I mean, he seemed pretty smart. The problem that I found with Tesla was we were a startup in Silicon Valley, building a car that was really manufacturing and materials engineering, and it's really like all the talent was for, you would think there was probably talent, in Detroit or Japan, but if you took any of those guys in to run Tesla, they would run it like a car company, and then it would be destroyed.
Well, they had no idea. You can take somebody who's running a giant corporation.
You just could not take someone from a massive company culture and have them do a startup, and yet you couldn't find anyone in Silicon Valley who knew enough about making cars. And so we kind of found a middle of the road one he was an expert in manufacturing. Flextronics. That's right.
Ex-CEO of Flextronics was an investor, and he agreed to just join as interim CEO, and this is 2007.
Yeah. But I mean, Tesla was a company you tried so hard not to be CEO of.
Yes, but the thing is, this is misinterpreted. If I say that, it's misinterpreted as like I somehow don't love Tesla, which I do. It's just like trying not to go insane with work.
Yeah, being CEO of a real startup is 80 hours a week. Being CEO of two is 160 hours a week, and there's only 169 hours or something of sleep of 168 hours a week. So, like, you just can't physically do it.
Yeah, I mean, the pain level is extreme. So. That's, yeah. Anyway, I tried quite hard not to be CEO, but had to be. No choice. That or Tesla would die. So that, yeah. So Everhard was fired in July 2007, and he was at the time we didn't know he'd instructed other people to lie, so we thought he was just, it wasn't as bad. But once he left the building, then it turned out, no, he'd actually orchestrated a massive deception, which is quite bad. Yeah. He also said he came up with the name of Tesla Motors, which is false. That was created by a guy in '95. And moreover, he knows this because we went to great length. We had to buy the trademark.
Yeah, exactly.
So he can come up with the name. It was trademarked in '95. So it was like there's a whole bullshit backstory of it. But the guy, we almost had to change the name of the company because the guy who owned Tesla Motors wouldn't communicate with us, and so eventually we sent the nicest kind of company. Now, who's weirdly Martin's best friend, which I don't understand. but Mark Topping, super nice guy.
I like Mark a lot, actually.
Yeah, you can't not like Mark. It's impossible. He's a super nice guy. So we sent Mark to go sit on the guy's doorstep and not leave until he until he agreed to at least negotiate with us or something. He talked to us, and then we ended up buying the trademark for $75,000.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Was he the one who owned the domain too?
No, that was a whole different nightmare. The domain guy, that took us 10 years to buy that Tesla.com domain. Man, and he is, I think, still like a networking engineer at Juniper. So, yeah, that cost us like $10 million.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
like the guy just held out.
Was he just sitting on the domain, or was he using it for something?
It was impossible to. No, he wasn't using it for anything.
Just holding the name. It's like Twitter handle Falcon Heavy isn't being used. We're fighting for that one.
Yeah, so man, took us ages to buy the Tesla.com domain. We were gonna have to change the name to be something else, and actually, the lead candidate was Faraday as the name, because Faraday invented the electric motor, and then Tesla perfected the electric motor with the AC induction motor. So if we couldn't do Tesla, we would do Faraday, and then ironically, a competitor was later created called Faraday.
Faraday, yes. A startup.
Yeah.
From China, right?
Yeah. So.
Did you guys have a Faraday logo or anything? Were you that far down the
No.
track?
We didn't really even have a Tesla logo until later because there's nothing to sell or anything. So, but in the end, the Tesla logo and the Tesla font was done by me working with basically a little firm. That's why the Tesla and SpaceX. There's some similarities between the fonts, and that's because it was done by the same people. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on the Tesla and SpaceX fonts. Get the little things.
That's cool.
You want to eat that? Yeah, sure.
Excellent.
All right.
Awesome.
It would be much easier if the world was flat, or if you're in a flat situation. As soon as things are not flat, and you've got the world is like, it has undulations and curves, and then the car can be at any kind of angle, and then if you accelerate or brake, it's actually going to tip a little bit.
Yeah,
you've got sort of pitch and yaw compensation. That's where it gets really tricky.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing just amazing work. It literally just blows my mind every time. Like, there's an update. Like, you think it's like, wow, I can't believe it's this good, and then it just gets better.
Like the big one was the faster lane changes. Like as you push the turn signal, it's like immediately. It's really awesome.
That's so satisfying.
Yeah,
And
love that.
I was kind of just like before. I was like, okay, it's not that good, but it feels good because like I can't believe a computer's doing this. Then we got the faster ones, and I was like, oh my god, it was so bad before. Like, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be able to just do crazy maneuvers like a high-speed chase technically, because it's you don't always want to bias the thing to be conservative in the actions that it takes.
Yeah.
But there's quite a significant foundational rewrite in the Tesla Autopilot system that's almost complete as
Really?
well. Yeah.
And what part of the system? Like perception, like planning, or just like?
It's instead of having planning, perception, image recognition all be separate, they're being combined. Yeah.
I don't even understand what that means.
Effectively, like the sort of neural net is absorbing more and more of the problem.
Right.
Beyond simply if you see an image, is this a car or not, or what, you know? It's kind of what do you do from that? 3D labeling is the next big thing, where the car can go through a scene with 8 cameras and kind of paint paint a path, and then you can label the path in 3D. This is probably 2 or 3 order of magnitude improvement in labeling efficiency and labeling accuracy. You know, 2 or 3 orders of improvement in labeling efficiency and significant improvement in labeling accuracy, as opposed to having to label individual frames from 8 cameras at 36 frames a second. You just drive through the scene, rebuild that scene as a 3D thing with. It's like there might be 1,000 frames that were used to create that scene, and then you can label them all at once.
Is that related to the dojo thing you mentioned at the autonomy day?
No, dojo is for learning, for training the neural net. That's like when you're trying to build the neural net that you ship into the car, dojo speeds that up by hardware accelerating it.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you guys, is that up and running yet, or?
No, it might be. We might have the first one at the end of this year, but next year, I think it's very likely next year, maybe this year. But it's essentially meant to absorb massive amounts of video input, and then train against vast amounts of data, so that it can be used in the inference engine in the car. It's just like a human, really. It's like, how long does it take you to learn a subject versus do a subject? You know, it's like hard to learn, say, calculus, but once you learned it, then you can, you know, integrate something fast or something. You know, it's like it's really the same basic thing.
Yeah, I mean, that'll just really tighten the feedback loop. Like, at some point, it just gets impossible to catch you guys. And, like, the rest of the people haven't even really, like, started, the rest of the auto industry. And, like, the feedback loop is just getting so tight with autopilot now. It's just, like, makes it a lot easier.
I think they will catch up eventually. Or at least they will catch up to where Tesla is now. I don't know. I mean, things like, for example, we're talking about maps and directions, and how today, like, computer-based navigation is considered trivial. But, you know, back in '95, it was not trivial.
Right, yeah.
It was considered very hard. And the compute power you had was tiny. So the code had to be super tight. Couldn't have fluffy code if you're, you know, trying to execute something on like a 386, you know. It was like very, very puny amount of memory and compute. So now but now maps and directions are easy. I think at some point in the future, it might be a decade or something, then autonomy will seem easy.
Yeah, I mean, it'll obviously be commoditized in the long term.
Yes, it will seem easy in 10 years, but there will be a long stretch there where there'll be vast differences between cars. Well, and the auto industry is used to slow rates of improvement, so you know, there's still not really a car yet that matches the original Model S. Maybe you could argue like take
2012.
maybe.
Yeah.
If you look at like the EPA ratings, it literally is just all below.
Yeah. So that was 2012, and it's 2020. So it's still like pretty hard to get a car. Let's say there's not a car available at the price of the Model S that has the capabilities of the Model S of 2012.
It's kind of exactly what you were talking about with the Elise, where you're like, oh, we'll just put a battery in the Elise, and that kind of showed you like, okay, we really need a ground-up electric design. Yeah. And the rest of the industry hasn't done that. The sort of founding principles of Tesla were basically completely wrong. So the premise going in is like, it's not going to be that hard. You know, we'll just take the Lotus Elise, it's a, you know, nice lightweight car, and we'll take AC Propulsion's drive unit technology, and we'll put them together, and we'll have an electric car, and it'll be great.
This sounds pretty easy.
Yeah.
Except the AC propulsion technology could not be industrialized. Like it was like basically handcrafted electronics with an analog motor controller.
Yeah.
And so depending if there was hot or cold, your car would respond differently or not at all. And the motors were hand wound. It was just like it was like impossible. You cannot scale this technology. You could have like finicky, individually made, super expensive prototypes, but we ended up using none of the AC propulsion technology. So, it's something that looks cool and works well at an individual prototype level does not necessarily scale. And then like I said, it was like maybe 7% of the parts of the original Roadster were in common with the Lotus Elise. It would have been way easier if we started from a blank slate. It would have been a better car. But I think like the real test of any given startup is how well does it respond to adversity and adapt and just figure it out. So like most things are just, when they start out, they don't make a lot of sense. But then as long as you adapt quickly, then you can make the company work. If you say like sort of Confinity, doing Palm Pilot tokens with an infrared port made no sense, but they adapted quickly to online payments. That was key. At X.com, was originally going to buy it off way more than it could chew by trying to do all the banking services, and that also focused on payments. It's like, if we do all these banking things, we're going to need a banking license. The banking license is going to slow us down. We're just focused on payments, so we can just get a payment, license from the state, and it's just like $50 or something. You can be a money transmitter, literally. And so you just got to adapt quickly.
You kind of need to be naive, though. If you had known as much about manufacturing, you might not have done it.
Yeah. It would have been difficult to. I guess if you know the outcome's going to be good in the end, sure. It sort of depends on how much foreknowledge do you have about it. Manufacturing is insanely difficult. It's underappreciated in its difficulty.
Yeah, no, that's totally true.
Yeah. Even making the Roadster, which we only like peak made about 600 Roadsters in a year, but call it like 10 a week or something like that. 10 or 12 a week. So, if 2 got made in a day, that was a big day. Tesla's making over 1,000 cars a day now.
What I find amazing is from start to finish.
Count start to finish.
Yeah, it depends. But you can see the rolled aluminum in one section of the factory, and you can see the cars coming out the other end, and it really is astounding. And
yeah,
cars have been built for a long time, but this is just astounding. It's still level of detail of 10,000 parts that come together, the shaping of everything.
10,000 unique parts.
Unique parts.
wow.
The pack alone is several thousand cells.
And it all comes together with people that are skilled, but skills are changing as things. Autonomy is not perfect, so you do need to have a lot of people there, and these cars have to be perfect. I mean, it's just
given how much complexity there is in a car, it's remarkable that they cost as little as they do.
What sort of processes did you remove, like first principles type thing approach from the Elise to like the Model S? Like, was it a massive jump there?
Yeah, I mean, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
Tesla had never made a car, made a full car before. The Lotus made the non-powertrain portion of the Roadster, and then Tesla built the battery pack, motor, power electronics, charger, and then put it all together at the end. And the final assembly was actually at an old Ford dealership in Menlo Park. That was, you can see some of the stuff in Revenge of the Electric Car.
Yeah, I've seen
Great
them both.
movie.
Yeah, it's great.
It just gives you crazy perspective to look back on it.
Crazy.
We need a third one.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of having a car, like a car assembly tiny plant in Menlo Park of all places. And that was just because we managed to sublease the Ford dealership closed down, and we managed to get it like this deal from Stanford, because the Stanford's going to redevelop it, and we figured they'd probably take way longer than they expected to redevelop it. So we said, well, you're not bringing it to anyone. Can we pay you like 50 cents a square foot, and you can kick us out whenever you want. And it was this actually huge dealership, and it had enough room to do final assembly of the cars. So we just did final assembly of the cars there.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. And one of the most absurd places to build cars on Earth is Menlo Park.
So no test track or anything, just the road outside or something?
The early roasters were very unreliable, so we generally put about 50 miles of just normal drive.
Play. HT is another artificial intelligence. Here you can find it, play.ht. With this AI, you can translate text into voice in 10s of different languages. You can also use your own voice. It can imitate your friend's voice. For example, you can imitate the voice of a politician by having him read the text in his hand. It's so easy to pretend that you think you've never told a politician anymore. It seems like this will create sensational results in the future. And if an image is added to it, you can make a video with voice as well. Another one is Synthesia. Synthesia can implement artificial intelligence. Here you can register to try free. Synthesia.io. With this AI, a full video can be made from a picture of person, who can be spoken with his own voice, and this picture is animated. We will come to this later. The Speechalo. Another is artificial intelligence that converts text into voice app.blasteronline.com. I will use this artificial intelligence while making this movie. And I will have the movie voiced in different languages. The Jasper. This is an artificial intelligence that can do all office work. For details visit jasper.ai to try it. The Browser, H2O and hundreds more artificial intelligence app you can found now. Yes, friends. There are hundreds of artificial intelligence apps, like these. Now let's get into the details, and first let's take a look at what artificial intelligence is, and its history. You will listen to the next part directly from the mouth of an artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, AI, is a broad field of computer science that focuses on building intelligent machines that can perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a multidisciplinary science with multiple approaches, but advances in machine learning and deep learning in particular are creating paradigm shifts in almost every sector of the technology industry. With the help of artificial intelligence, machines can model or even improve the capabilities of the human mind. And from the development of self-driving cars to the spread of smart assistants like Siri and Alexa, artificial intelligence is increasingly part of everyday life and an area where companies across all industries are investing. Understanding AI. Generally speaking, artificial intelligence systems can perform tasks normally associated with human cognitive functions, such as interpreting language, playing games, and recognizing patterns. They typically learn this by processing large amounts of data and looking for patterns to model in their. Hello friends. In this video, I will show you the developments in artificial intelligence, which has been growing rapidly since December 30th. Now, what is an artificial intelligence? Let's talk about it. December 30th, we started to hear about tens of artificial intelligence-related platforms. For example, Hello friends. In this video, I will show you the developments in artificial intelligence, which has been growing rapidly since December 30th. Now, what is an artificial intelligence? Let's talk about it. December 30th, we started to hear about tens of artificial intelligence-related platforms. For example, Loka, you can find it on this site, loka.com. The another one is SoundDraw, soundraw.io. Making your own music is very easy now. You can sign up for free to try it. The famous one is from company OpenAI. You can register to try in openai.com. They have also different AIs within OpenAI. The most important of these is the ChatGPT, and it has reached 100 million members within 2 months. We'll come to that later. DALL-E. This artificial intelligence was activated by the OpenAI company. We'll come back to that later. Play. HT is another artificial intelligence. Here you can find it, play.ht. With this AI, you can translate text into voice in tens of different languages. You can also use your own voice. It can imitate your friend's voice. For example, you can imitate the voice of a politician by having him read the text in his hand. It's so easy to pretend that you think you've never told a politician anymore. It seems like this will create sensational results in the future. And if an image is added to it, you can make a video with voice as well. Another one is Synthesia. Synthesia can implement artificial intelligence. Here you can register to try free. Synthesia.io. With this AI, a full video can be made from a picture of person, who can be spoken with his own voice, and this picture is animated. We will come to this later. The Speechalo. Another is artificial intelligence that converts text into voice app.blasteronline.com. I will use this artificial intelligence while making this movie. And I will have the movie voiced in different languages. The Jasper. This is an artificial intelligence that can do all office work. For details visit jasper.ai to try it. The Browser, H2O and hundreds more artificial intelligence app you can found now. Yes friends. There are hundreds of artificial intelligence apps, like these. Now let's get into the details, and first let's take a look at what artificial intelligence is, and its history. You will listen to the next part directly from the mouth of an artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, AI, is a broad field of computer science that focuses on building intelligent machines that can perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a multidisciplinary science with multiple approaches, but advances in machine learning and deep learning in particular are creating paradigm shifts in almost every sector of the technology industry. With the help of artificial intelligence, machines can model or even improve the capabilities of the human mind. And from the development of self-driving cars to the spread of smart assistants like Siri and Alexa, artificial intelligence is increasingly part of everyday life and an area where companies across all industries are investing. Understanding AI. Generally speaking, artificial intelligence systems can perform tasks normally associated with human cognitive functions, such as interpreting language, playing games, and recognizing patterns. They typically learn this by processing large amounts of data and looking for patterns to model in their own decisions. Humans often oversee the learning process of her AI, reinforcing good decisions and discouraging bad decisions. However, some AI systems are designed to learn unsupervised. For example, you learn by playing a video game over and over until you finally understand the rules and win. Strong AI. Strong AI, also known as artificial general intelligence, is an untrained machine that can solve problems just like humans. This is the kind of AI you see in movies like Robots from Westworld and the character data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. This type of AI doesn't really exist yet. Creating machines with human intelligence that can be used for any task is the holy grail for many AI researchers, but the quest for artificial general intelligence faces challenges. Others believe that strong AI research should be restricted without proper guardrails, as there are potential risks in creating strong AI. Unlike weak AI, strong AI is a machine with a set of cognitive abilities with a similarly wide range of use cases, although the difficulty of achieving such feats has diminished over time. Weak AI. Weak AI, sometimes called narrow AI or specialized AI, operates in a limited context and solves narrowly defined problems. Such as driving a car, transcribing human, it is a simulation of human intelligence applied to things like curation website. Weak AIs are often focused on doing one task very well. These machines may appear intelligent, but they are subject to far more limitations and restrictions than even the most basic human intelligence. Weak AI examples: Siri, Alexa, and other intelligent assistants. Self-driving cars. Google search. Conversational bots. Email spam filters. Netflix recommendations. Machine learning and deep learning. Although the terms machine learning and deep learning are common in AI conversations, they should not be used interchangeably. Deep learning is a form of machine learning, which is a subfield of artificial intelligence. Machine learning. Machine learning algorithms are fed data from a computer and use statistical techniques to help learn how to do a task better. It doesn't necessarily have to be specially programmed for that task. Instead, machine learning algorithms use historical data as input to predict new output values. To this end, machine learning is used in supervised learning and unsupervised. Deep learning. Deep learning is a form of machine learning that runs inputs through a biologically inspired neural network architecture. A neural network contains many hidden layers where data is processed, allowing the machine to learn deep, make connections, and weight inputs to achieve the best results. Examples of artificial intelligence. The 4 types of AI. AI can be divided into 4 categories based on the type and complexity of the tasks a system is able to perform. They are: reactive machines, limited memory, theory of mind, self-awareness. A reactive machine follows the most basic principle of artificial intelligence, and as the name suggests, can only use its intelligence to perceive and react to the world in front of it. A reactive machine cannot store memory and therefore cannot rely on past experience to make real-time decisions. Direct observation of the world means that jet engines are designed to perform only a limited number of specialized tasks. Reactive machine examples: Deep Blue could only recognize the pieces on the chessboard and could make each move based on the chess rules to identify the current position of each piece and determine what would be the most logical move at that moment. Google's AlphaGo also cannot estimate future moves, instead relying on its own neural network to estimate the progress of the current game, giving it an advantage over Deep Blue in more complex games. Limited memory. Artificial intelligence with limited memory can store past information and predictions as it gathers data and weighs possible decisions, essentially looking to the past for clues about the future. AI with limited memory is more complex and offers more options than jet machines. Memory-limited AI is created when the team continuously trains a model to analyze and use new data, or the AI environment is built so that models can be trained and updated automatically. There are 6 steps to follow when using memory-limited AI in machine learning. 1. Create training data. 2. Build a machine learning model. 3. Ensure the model can predict. 4. Ensure the model can get feedback from humans or the environment. 5. Storing human and environmental feedback as data. 6. Repeat the above steps as a cycle. Theory of mind. The concept is based on the premise of psychological understanding that other living beings have thoughts and feelings that influence their own behavior. For AI machines, this would mean that AI could understand the emotions of people, animals, and other devices, and make decisions through introspection and judgment, and then use that information to make its own decisions. In principle, machines should be able to understand and process the concept of a mind, emotional fluctuations in decision-making, and many other psychological concepts in real time, creating a two-way relationship between humans and artificial intelligence. Self-awareness. If the theory of mind is confirmed, sometimes long into the AI's future, the final step is AI self-awareness. Such artificial intelligence has human-level consciousness and understands both its own existence in the world and the presence and emotional state of others. It can understand what others may need, not only by what they communicate to them, but also by how they communicate it. AI self-awareness is based on both human researchers understanding the starting point of consciousness and then learning to copy it so that it can be built into machines. Examples of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence technology comes in many forms, from chatbots to navigation apps to wearable fitness trackers. The following examples demonstrate the range of potential AI applications. ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence chatbot that can create written content in a variety of formats, from essays to code to answers to simple questions. Introduced by OpenAI in November 2022, ChatGPT is based on a large-scale language model that can accurately emulate human typing. Google Maps. Google Maps uses location data from your smartphone and user-reported data about things like construction and car accidents to monitor changes in traffic and estimate the shortest route. Smart assistants. Personal assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Cortana use natural language processing (NLP) to set reminders, find information online, and control the lights in people's homes according to your instructions. These assistants are often designed to learn the user's preferences and improve the user's experience over time, with better suggestions and more customized responses. Snapchat filter. The Snapchat filter uses machine language algorithms to distinguish between the subject and background of an image, track facial movements, and adjust on-screen images based on user behavior. Self-driving cars. Self-driving cars are recognizable examples of deep learning, using deep neural networks to detect objects around them, determine the distance to other cars, identify traffic lights, and more. Wearables. Wearable sensors and devices used in the healthcare industry apply deep learning to assess patient health conditions, such as blood glucose levels, blood pressure, and heart rate. It can also derive patterns from a patient's past medical history and use it to predict future health. MuZero. MuZero, a computer program developed by DeepMind, is a promising pioneer in the quest for true artificial general intelligence. It has managed to master games it wasn't even taught, including chess and many Atari games, by brute force playing the game millions of times. The benefits of artificial intelligence. AI has many uses, from accelerating vaccine development to automatically detecting potential fraud. AI companies will raise $66.8 billion in 2022. That's more than double his amount raised in 2020. Due to its rapid adoption, AI is making waves in various industries. A safer bank. Business Insider intelligence on AI in banking found that more than half of financial services firms are already using AI solutions for risk management and revenue generation. Applying AI to banking could save more than $100 billion. Better medicine. When it comes to healthcare, a 2021 World Health Organization report found that integrating AI into healthcare faces challenges, but the technology has great potential. AI can lead to benefits, such as better informed healthcare policies and better patient outcomes leading to diagnostic accuracy. Innovative media. AI's challenges and limits. AI is certainly seen as an important and rapidly evolving asset, but this emerging field also has some drawbacks. Pew Research Institute in 2021 he surveyed 10,260 Americans about their attitudes towards AI. The results show that 5% of respondents are equally excited and concerned, and 37% are more concerned than excited. Moreover, more than 0% of his respondents said they think self-driving cars are bad for society. However, the idea of using AI to detect the spread of misinformation on social media is more well received, with nearly 0% of respondents calling it a good idea. AI delivers the benefits of increased productivity and efficiency while reducing the potential for human error. But there are also some downsides, such as development costs and the potential for automated machines to replace human jobs. Note, however, that the artificial intelligence industry also creates jobs. Some of them have not yet been invented. The future of artificial intelligence. Given the computational costs and technical data infrastructure running behind artificial, it's a complex and expensive business. Moore's law states that the number of transistors on a microchip will double approximately every 2 years, having the cost of computers. At some point in the 2020s, this had a major impact on modern AI technology, without which deep learning would not be financially viable. It's above the law, doubling about every 6 months. 2 years against. Following this logic, recent advances in artificial intelligence have been staggering across a variety of industries. And the potential for even greater impact in the coming decades seems almost inevitable. History of AI. Intelligent robots and artificial creatures first appeared in ancient Greek mythology. Aristotle's use of the syllogism and its deductive reasoning was a pivotal moment in man's quest to understand his own intelligence. Although his roots are long and deep, today's AI history is less than a century old. Below is a brief overview of some of the most important events in AI. 1942, Isaac Asimov published his 3 Laws of Robotics. This is an idea widely shared in the sci-fi media about how artificial intelligence should harm humans. 1943, Warren McCullough and Walter Pitts published a logical calculus of ideas immanent in nervous activity, proposing the first mathematical model for building neural networks. 1949, in his book The Organization of Behavior, a neuropsychological theory, Donald Hebb argued that neural pathways arise from experience, and that the more frequently connections between neurons occur, the stronger they become. I propose the theory that used again. Learning Hebrew remains an important model for AI. 1950, Alan Turing published his thesis, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, and what is now known as Turing's test. We propose a method to determine whether a machine is intelligent. 1950, Harvard students Marvin Minsky and Dean Edmonds built the first neural network, his computer, his SNARK. 1950, Claude Shannon publishes the article, Programming a Computer to Play Chess. 1952, Arthur Samuel develops a draft self-study program. 1952, Georgetown IBM's machine translation experiment automatically translates 60 carefully selected Russian sentences into English. 1956, the term artificial intelligence was coined at the Dartmouth Summer Research Project on Artificial Intelligence. Chaired by John McCarthy, the conference is widely regarded as the birthplace of AI. 1956, Alan Newell and Herbert Simon present the first reasoning program, Logic Theorist, LT. 1958, John McCarthy developed the AI programming language Lisp and published Programs with Common Sense. To learn from experience as effectively as people. 1959, Alan Newell, Herbert Simon, and J.C. Shaw developed the General Problem Solver, GPS, a program designed to mimic human problem solving. 1959, Herbert Gelernter developed his Geometry Theorem Prover program. 1959, Arthur Samuel coined the term machine learning during his tenure at IBM. 1959, John McCarthy and Marvin Minsky founded his MIT Artificial Intelligence Project. 1963, John McCarthy establishes his AI lab at Stanford. 1966, a report of the U.S. government's Automatic Language Processing Advisory Committee, ALPAC, details the lack of progress in machine translation research. Promised from Russian. The ALPAC report will lead to the termination of all state-sponsored MT projects. 1969, his Dendril and Mycin, the first successful expert systems, were developed at Stanford. 1972, the logic programming language Prolog was created. 1973, the Lighthill Report, detailing frustrations in AI research, was published by the British government, leading to a drastic cut in funding for AI projects. Rice Field. 1980, dissatisfaction with advances in AI development leads to drastic cuts in academic funding by DARPA. Combined with his previous ALPAC report and last year's Lighthill report, funding for AI has dried up and research has stagnated. This period is known as First AI Winter. 1980, Digital Equipment Corporations develops the first successful commercial expert system, R1, also known as Xeon. Designed to make up the order of new computing systems, R1 sparked a boom in expert system investment that would last for much of this decade, effectively ending the first AI winter. 1982, Japan's Ministry of International Trade and Industry initiates an ambitious fifth-generation computer system project. The goal of FGCS is to develop a supercomputer-like performance and platform for AI development. 1983, in response to his FGCS in Japan, the U.S. government launched the Strategic Computing Initiative, a DARPA-funded advance that offers research in computing and AI. 1985, companies spend over $1 billion a year on expert systems, supported by an entire industry known as the Lisp machine market doing. Companies such as Symbolics and Lisp Machines Incorporated build a specialized computer that runs the Lisp AI programming language. 1993, as computer technology improved, cheaper alternatives appeared, and the Lisp machine market has collapsed. Second AI winter. During this time, expert systems proved too expensive to maintain and update, and eventually fell out of favor. 1991, the U.S. military uses DART, an automated logistics planning and scheduling tool, during the Gulf War. 1992, Japan completed the FGCS project in 1992, an ambitious goal outlined for 10 years. Claimed to have failed to achieve just a while ago. 1993, DARPA discontinued the Strategic Computing Initiative in 1993. Well below expectations after spending nearly $1 billion. 1997, IBM's Deep Blue defeats world chess champion Garry Kasparov. 2005, his Stanley and self-driving car wins his DARPA Grand Challenge. 2005, the U.S. military begins investing in autonomous robots such as Boston Dynamics' Big Dog and iRobot's PackBot. 2008, Google made a breakthrough in speech recognition and introduced its functionality to the iPhone app. 2011, IBM's Watson beats competitors with Jeopardy! 2011, Apple launches AI-powered virtual released Siri and Assistant. 2012, Andrew Ng, founder of the Google Brain Deep Learning Project, used deep learning algorithms as a training set to generate 10 million YouTube videos. To the neural network. Neural networks learned to recognize cats without being told what they were, ushering in a breakthrough era in neural networks and funding deep learning. 2014, Google builds first self-driving car to pass state driving test. 2014, Amazon's Alexa, a virtual smart home device, was released. 2016, Google DeepMind's AlphaGo beats Go world champion Lee Sedol. The complexity of ancient Chinese games was seen as a major hurdle for AI. 2016, the first robot citizen, a humanoid robot named Sophia, was developed by Hanson Robotics and features facial recognition, verbal communication, and facial recognition. Is possible. Allow expression. 2018, Google released BERT, a natural language processing engine. This reduces translation and comprehension barriers with ML applications. 2018, Waymo launches his Waymo One service, allowing users throughout the Phoenix area to request pickup from any company. Yes, friends. We just come to the end of the first part of the video. In this section, we have presented you all the information about artificial intelligence. We could only give you a few examples of the great AI systems that exist today. As you can see, AI is already affecting our world in a huge way, and will undoubtedly continue to do so in the future. In the second part of the video, I will introduce you to Notion Artificial Intelligence. Here, you must be a member of the site to use their services. Subscription is free. They offer different options for membership. For personal use, the free section will be enough for you. If you are going to use it for a company, you should choose one of them according to the work you will do. For example, you can choose the Plus version for a small workplace or schools. It starts up $8. In the second part of the video, I will examine, in detail, Notion AI. To-do list. Action items. Summaries. Takeaways. Translate. Edit voice and tone. Make short or longer. Explain. Use simple languages. Mail answering. Etc. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Hello friends. In this video, I will show you the developments in artificial intelligence, which has been growing rapidly since December 30th. Now, what is an artificial intelligence? Let's talk about it. December 30th, we started to hear about tens of artificial intelligence-related platforms. For example, Loka, you can find it on this site, loka.com. The another one is Soundraw, soundraw.io. Making your own music is very easy now. You can sign up for free to try it. The famous one is from company OpenAI. You can register to try in openai.com. They have